Okay, welcome. Thank you very much for the invitation. Actually, I am head of the sector that was managing this contract from the Commission side. I know that this morning my deputy Giovanna was here. She opened this event, and what I heard earlier, yes, it's difficult, and was a very good answer. Was it? I think you replied. Was it worth? Well, if we don't do doing nothing, it's just too high the cost. This morning I was doing actually a lecture presentation, and it was about AI and the governance and the competitiveness of Europe and so on. Even there, we have an AI Act, if you might know. If we are the first one in the world of the major institutions that has produced something, and some people are criticizing, well, this, that, it's too vague, it's not. Yeah, but we are the first one that has done something. And we did that in 2021, I think. So even before ChatGPT was there. So now everyone in the United States, Australia, they are asking us and to see and to copying us and adapting to there. So there is a lot of work to be done there, but this is, I mean, talking about that because it is innovation and it is procurement of innovation. And when it comes to the procurement of innovation and the RaDAR project, one thing strikes me. There is a contradiction in terms. Procurement and innovation, right? We are procuring something, as also me as being a governmental organization, something that I really don't know. The first rule in the procurement is write the term of references as you know exactly what you need. Well, like it's still not invented, right? Or it's still not really adapted to what I need. So this is of course difficult in the end. And I think that is very important that we are trying to put actors together, and of course the simplification of the regular aspects goes together, and that we are very aware. But I will start with Bernice. And you were GPO, right? So it's a group purchasing organization in the processes in RaDAR. And based on this experience, what role a GPO like yours can play in future value-based procurements of innovations?
Thank you. Thanks, Igor, for the great question, because it's a huge question, and I think we don't have enough of time to answer to this first question, but we have another one, so I will be quick. Building on our RaDAR experience, we think that CPBs, so central purchasing bodies, can play an ever stronger role in the future, in a future PPI project, by accelerating the scaling of innovation and by facilitating its adoption across healthcare systems. And this role can be explained and illustrated across three key dimensions. The first one, and the most important one, is our procurement expertise, because procurement is our core activity. We provide organization with access to products and services with the main objective of achieving the best purchasing conditions by pooling demand and services, thereby reducing costs. It's our mission, I would say. And in this context, RESA, so one of the most important French central purchasing body, offered tailored procurement solutions, covering the wide range of needs, because we propose products and services from medicines, medical devices, to intellectual property and consulting. So it's quite a large scale, I would say, and we offer these solutions to more than 4,200 beneficiaries, and within these beneficiaries we are hospitals and as well local authorities. So we have a lot of different profiles of beneficiaries, and to all these beneficiaries provide access to secure contracts. We already comply with the regulatory requirements in order to reduce the financial burden and also the legal one. And our turnkey contracts are composed of flexible clauses that can adapt over time of the life duration of the contract, because we propose, for instance, during the contract to integrate new features of the solutions. If the supplier contacts us and offer us the possibility to add some new features to the main solution, we can discuss with him to include them. And also pricing clauses to adapt the price according to the current situation. It's something that might be possible in our contract. And last but not least, concerning the procurement expertise, since 2 years ago, we have the possibility to extend the geographical scope, because we have signed a partnership with a Belgium central purchasing body called Mercurosp, and within this partnership, we offer the possibility to the Belgian beneficiary of this CPB to access to our contract. So it's quite an innovative way to work, because the Belgian central purchasing body, if they would like to offer a specific product to its beneficiary, they can look into our catalog. So it's quite a great way to collaborate between CPBs. And Mercos is a French-speaking CPB, so it's easier for us to work with them, especially also on all the legal aspects. Beyond the procurement itself, the advantage of being a CPB is that we can act in the access of the market for the SMEs and startups, because we can offer the solution provided by the economic operators to a wide range of organizations, and through a single procurement process, because we allow the suppliers to respond once and remain contract holder for several years, and in that way reducing their financial, administrative and reporting burden. So it's quite nice. A concrete example is during in our radar market. Nosotech has awarded three lots, and it's a Canadian company. So being the holder of this contract allow them to propose their 2 solutions to our beneficiary. And now, since the signature of the partnership with Belgium CPB, they might be also have some users, I would say, in Belgium too. So it's quite nice. And more broadly, through the wholesaler approach, because if we talk about procurement process itself, RaDAR supports also SMEs and startups by enabling faster scaling of their solution and facilitating their access to markets thanks to a specific clause, a pricing clause, because as we buy and resell the solution, we have the opportunity to pay the suppliers in 7 days. So it's quite a tight schedule. So it's very important for the SMEs and the startup, and a key lever for their scalability.
Thank you very much. Quickly to go back to you, Jordi. So you are also working for a GPO. So you were also GPO in the process. You helped the member in definition of the contract and launching, execution, and so on. You're coming from a different country, but the question is not the same, but is in a way similar. What are the opportunities? What is the added value that GPO can bring to health system industry?
Yeah, I would say it's actually 3 things: collaboration, speed, and attractiveness. So in collaboration, and we are a GPO that we helped Laboratori de Referència a Catalunya, I would reference them as the lab, and then the hospital that was working with the lab, Hospital del Mar. So we were 3 partners buying the same. We just helped with the procurement, and then, but the actually buyers of the solutions were the lab, but then the change occurred in the hospital, okay? And we did all this process of change and impact into the hospital with collaboration. So the important thing is that the lab is not only working with Hospital del Mar, so they are working with other hospitals. So the input that they put it in the procurement was also thinking that maybe this solution is not only for one hospital, but can be for more. And we as well as a GPO, we were thinking that this solution is not only with this lab and this hospital, but could be for the whole system. So we work in a collaborative way. And then the speed is because we can collaborate as well with other GPOs, which actually occurred in this project. Earlier today, ECO, which is another entity working in the project, they said, okay, working in this procurement was hard, was difficult. We have to take into account that there is some time of adaptation until you get the results and the procurement you want. We actually entered in the project quite late, so September 2024. But then on April 2025, we had already awarded the companies and the contract was already starting. But it's not because we were good, but because all the people that started earlier in the project, they did really good. It's like entering into a jungle, and then the first entering in the jungle, they were like cutting all the herbs. So then when we entered, we could already run. That's the thing that we do with collaboration. We create a speed, and then we make, working as a GPO, we make bigger contracts, so it's attractive for bigger companies to apply and try to adapt their solutions to our needs, but also as well for SMEs, so for small and medium enterprises, working in this way that they start working with one lab and one hospital, but thinking that they can, in the future, put the solution in the whole system. It's for them more attractive to grow as a company. So collaboration, speed, and attractiveness.
Thank you very much, very clear. And now I would like to go to Mark. Sorry. Mark, yes. So since you're part of Cienzano, which was not the partner of the project and is not a GPO, but you have quite some experience in pre-commitment procurement, right? And can you tell us, from your perspective, what are the key conditions that must be placed in order to move from PCP to PPI, so commercial procurement to the procurement of innovation?
Yeah, thank you very much for hearing us here. And I should say, I heard already some elements. It's not a jungle. With us, it's a swamp. So you have to also take care of your sink somewhere, we don't know. But it's true, I think one of the conditions to enter into a situation where you can even think about the PPI is you need a group of people that can work together, that learn to work together, and you need a good idea. Yeah? That is principle. And it has to be discussed a little bit also with the people that are going, in the end, pay. So it has to be an interest there. So, but I think what we just finished, or we're finishing together with our colleagues from Aquas, and I must say, most of the things we learned from in the PCPs from Aquas, and now we're going to jointly enter into a PPI, hopefully, we don't know yet, but the thing that you learn is that, first of all, there's a lot of people who are not aware of it, so there's very few people that really understand it. And then you have to have a good group of people that identify something that is based on a need. There has to be a need, otherwise you get nowhere. And the thing that is maybe underestimated here is the time frame. Like for our project, we started to think about it in 2017. So we're 2026, and it's still innovative. It's still so what we wanted to have is still in many of the healthcare systems now, people say, we're talking about liquid biopsy, very complex liquid biopsies, and they still say, we need some work to do that. And we saw it in the PPI, and that's what we're going to do now in the PPI. First of all, there was many people interested. We almost had to stop because you cannot have too many people in a PPI also, but we have 6, 7 countries that are really wanted to invest, and there's still things to learn, because what we are trying to do in the PPI is what nobody wants to pay for, learning by doing. And you need to be in the clinic, you need to be in the hospital to learn really how it works. And that, I think, is something that really this PPI at the European level is offering us. And it's going to be interesting to see how it works. I'm not sure how it works. We are in 7 different countries, different healthcare systems, different payer systems, different levels of readiness, very important, the readiness. And interesting now, and that is a case now in cancer that is unique for the moment, you have the European Beating Cancer Plan. We are going to showcase what we do in this PPI, if we have it, to other countries who are not even involved. So that's where, in fact, one of the aims of the whole EBCP was to reduce inequalities. So PPIs can really help in leveling inequalities, because you also have 7 countries together. So at the moment they will bring together. I must say, the people that we started with the PCP, we have many projects together now. So that's also something that's, these initiatives that are normally national or local or at your institute, these European projects, you bring countries together, you bring discussion together. So I think you cannot underestimate the, I would say, externalities that you create by having these kind of projects. So it's something that and really what Europe is doing, and the Commission is doing extremely well, is creating these communities. You have to, of course, at a certain moment, they have to realize something. They cannot just be talking, so they have to become concrete. So that's some of the things. I think that is very important to make a success. I'm not sure that first of all, we have to pass the call, and then afterwards we have to see whether it gets something. But even just being able to build up together things in the future is already a success. Because it may sound a lot of money that you put in, but in the end, if you look at the costs of healthcare systems, these projects are really not so costly. But the value is in bringing the collaboration together.
Thank you very much. You mentioned the communities, and I'm not sure if you were referring exactly on our project, that is the platform, procurement platform, where we are actually, if you are not aware, we are actually trying to organize communities of public buyers that are around different topics or different communities, and it is actually exchanging the best practices, exchanging the knowledge, connecting someone that has by chance or by mistake done something maybe in Croatia and can teach maybe someone in Germany. And this happens. This is especially when we have innovative things around. It's not that the most developed countries or the ones that are a little bit, how can I be politically correct, further in something that they necessarily have also the best practices. One of the best digital examples in Europe is Estonia. So it's a country that was behind the Iron Curtain when I was born. But you touched about that, and we will go now a little bit more in depth with Olman. You work for Aquas, and you were the coordinator in this project, right? And you work also on the other projects co-funded by European Union. But based on your experience with the European Union projects, what is the single biggest barrier or couple of barriers today preventing wider adoption of PPI in specifically in healthcare systems?
Thank you. I think Well, it has to do with the different levels also of governance, in fact, because PPI, as Mark suggested, is not something people know about. And you learn by doing. So the one thing that it actually makes a relevant case is participating in one gives each actor the experience of having understood in practice what this actually means. And I think, for example, for Reza's case, which had already done so, but it takes, I think this takes in two different levels. At a personal, professional level, each individual that first tries to understand what PPI is needs some time to go through the idea. Then you need to understand if your institution has, also your back on it, and if they do, that's also a good thing, which has been my case in Aquas. Aquas understood, and the Catalan health system for a while, from 2010 and 2012, that we had the capacity with the highly skilled professionals, with healthcare services, highly skilled researchers, that we could generate innovation. So the generation of innovation sometimes is not the hard part. The efficiency of this innovation is not the hard part. The hard part is how do we adopt it, right? And this is a problem for the health system as well. And I think Assunta mentioned before, we have all these dynamics in the system, and there are all these innovators coming up with stuff, and we don't know where to go. So having a proactive activity, a proactive strategy for health systems to say, hey, this is my priority, this is what the systemic challenges that we need to tackle are here, and I present them to you, that helps also sort of the innovation ecosystems to understand it. So first thing then is awareness, knowing what it implies, right? So at HIPS, which is another call by the Commission, is trying to mainstream this instrument, right? And so we need ways. HIPS, it's Health Innovation Procurement Support Services. So in this case, we have a platform that is trying to address sort of the two sides of the formula. On one side, you have the procurer, and the other side, you have the innovation provider, right? But on our case, we decided to go at a higher level. What is the health system perspective on it? And how do we then acknowledge that there might be policies that support the adoption of this instrument as a transformation lever, right? And for us, this is what became truly our aim, to see how can we translate what we do in Aquas within the health innovation ecosystem, and what we do in other projects to provide the expertise, but also the support, also the continuing learning by doing, that we're still on, all of us, at the individual level, and also in the collaborative level that we've managed to have, let's say, in our unit, in our agency, but also in our health system, right? And this means that the community that you were talking about represents how are we mixing this sort of different levels of maturity to address what it would make a successful PPI in the future. So what we did in this HIPS platform is create a lab that it's a PPI Health System Policy Lab, in which we're trying to create a space where people can share the lessons, the experience, and also provide sort of a systematized structure and a framework in which you understand that PPIs are projects. So projects have a beginning and an end, and they have a specific purpose. But they mean they're not, for us, they're adoption mechanisms, but they need to end and they need to generate the evidence, so they push the ball forward. But what we also need are policies. We need policies that support demand-driven instruments like PPI and the adoption of those instruments in health systems. But the other element is researchers and the industry is pushing technology that sometimes it's interesting for us, it's interesting for our researchers, but we don't know how to adopt them. So we also need to create policies that help us understand how do we calibrate this technology push or the researcher-driven innovation that maybe we can leverage if somehow we manage to end up with a PPI case that is getting us closer to the adoption complexities that everyone, all these different stakeholders need for those solutions to become, let's say, the standard of care or the new standard of care.
Thank you. Yeah, you need us as well. So that's but this is also the challenge that I was talking at the beginning: creating policies on something that is really unknown. And here we need the stakeholders, we need the lobbyists, the positive way of lobbyists to tell us what they need, so that we can try to review. And we are reviewing currently, if you know, the public procurement. Whatever is going to be the regulation, hopefully maybe directive, and then also this is the strong and the weak point of Europe. What we create in Brussels is not automatically translated into regional, national policies. We try to align, we try to push, but then of course we like also that we are so different in Europe. So it's a hard task. But Bernice, yeah, I saw you nodding on Olman's intervention now. So looking ahead, 3 to 5 years, and I understand in framework of PPI, it's not very long term. It's because it takes time. But how do you see the landscapes in terms of value-based PPI?
Actually, I think you will find all the answer to this question if you rewatch the roundtable, because I think that in 3 to 5 years, success will mean that PPI is not any longer an exception, but a standard practice, because we need public procurement of innovation. We need to highlight innovative solutions that are ready to be used by hospital, if we are focusing on healthcare ecosystems. But I know it's quite optimistic, because 5 years is actually tomorrow. But maybe in 10 days, and between 3 to 10 days, you will need to continue to invest in capacity building in terms of skills, legal expertise, procurement, and EU project knowledge, because as you mentioned, Mark, the knowing about EU project is key if you would like to have more PPI implement and more deployment of innovative solutions across our organization. So we need to give all the keys. So the project IPS, it's one of them, to the contracting authorities to allow them to design and implement PPI. So I think it's very important to also communicate about the tool produced by the European Commission, by all the consortium, by our consortium, because the methodology that we have developed during the RaDAR project is very interesting, especially for us as a CPB, because this project allows us to participate to a procurement with other profile of contracting authorities. So it's quite interesting for us to learn from hospital, research institutes. It's very important for us, because we don't have the same scale, because our structure is more for deploying innovative solution at a larger scale, because we propose the solutions to many beneficiaries. So we can act as a multiplier. So it's quite interesting for us to facilitate the large scale deployment and adoption of innovative solutions, which have at the end impact on care. So I will conclude to take your input, Jordi. It's important for the future of PPI to collaborate together and to learn from each other and moving forward with with our skills and build on it.
Jordi, you were named, so you are the next. So if you could change one thing in the current system to unlock the potential of the PPI, what would be that?
Okay, I'm going for a moonshot now, ¿vale? I will try to explain as good as possible the thing that could change and then to improve scalability of innovation. Because the problem is well diagnosed and it was mentioned in the table before. And I would just say the phrase that innovation cannot be is difficult to scale when you have a reimbursement system that is short term. Like it's true and it's explained in the table before that the Catalan health system is paying the healthcare institutions to do the job, and then if they can do the job more efficiently, then the difference is for the institution and they can try to be more innovative. But then it has been said as well in the previous one, innovation needs a push to be efficient. And that's why we think about, and Rosanna was saying it as well, long-term goals, medium-term goals that will allow you to go to the long term, and then short term. But the ones that we are measuring in the short term, when you try to change things, is like, are the professionals happy with the change? Do they think it's working? Like, we don't have enough data to prove that it's efficient, and it might not be efficient in only one center, but it might be efficient if we go for the whole system. So, okay, now this was only the preamble, like the context to say that, okay, so this methodology or the process of AMR, of detecting microbial resistance in the hospitals is already paid in the hospitals, okay? But we did a change that needs a bit more of investment. So we need to measure what is the difference between what is already paid and what, and the difference, the increase that is needed, and until when will this increase be needed. So if it's 5 years, we create a fund of investment for 5 years, like investment and then disinvestment. Because if you say that in 5 years, this will be more efficient and it will be already paid, then I create a plan for investing in this and then disinvesting. If it's working, if it's working. If not, you go back to the previous procedure. And this is, I think, what we need to do. And this innovation investment fund, it doesn't need to be filled only with the healthcare system money, like, because it's happening in our country as well. Like, okay, GDP is increasing, but then the healthcare system is economically constrained all the time. But it's because we are putting investment in the healthcare system, and then the beneficiary and the benefits of this is going to the workforce, because people is healthier, so they can work more, and then the country is more productive. So the GDP is increasing, but healthcare system is not getting money back. They are just investing more. So this investment fund must be filled not by healthcare system, but other departments or public-private collaboration as well. We need to find the way to put money in this investment fund. That was it.
Thank you.
Was it clear? I don't understand it.
No, it was not the one single thing. It's a more complex, right? And of course, I understand that, and we are perfectly aware that on its own the public bodies cannot function. I mean, the future is in the joint initiatives of public-private, especially in some areas. Healthcare system, it's a very touchy system where it's also politically not in every country will be easy to go that way, but that's again depending on the national legislations. And you described very well the complexity, and Mark, you mentioned earlier swamp, right? That you consider it a swamp. And it's a kind of, actually Brussels, Brooks means swamp. So maybe it's because of that. But this is the city where but actually it was dried and now it's a beautiful, sometimes beautiful, these days very beautiful. But we that we live here, we know also the other sides. Anyway, how we can actually dry the swamp of the PPI. In other words, how can we better demonstrate the value of PPI to decision makers? So you have a couple of minutes to pitch and to show me that there is more value, that we should be doing more well.
Maybe just to pick in on what Jordi said, because he was saying, yeah, we need a fund that supports this. Actually, you could also think about the shared risk approach, because that's what we're now discussing with the pharma on the off-label use of these very expensive drugs. Why don't we take the risk together with the industry? And I think for this innovation, it could be a general way to do. And a little bit the PPI is already doing it, because it's the Commission who takes the risk, not the industry, but maybe we can think of other ways. And that's I think, something that in the AI world, we probably have to do also. And if you now say where the PPI is indeed something that we need to make more extensively and more broadly known, we are going to take it on us, Cienzano, in one of the new initiatives that the Commission has starting and that we are setting up together with the member states, that the network of comprehensive cancer centers. So that will be a network of the major hospitals on cancer. And we will try to push now this idea. We already presented the PCP and everybody was looking at me, what is this? So there will be interest from there, and that's really all Europe, 31 countries, everybody is there, more than 100 centers, and we are going to try to define together what are the needs of everybody, and then we see who can work, because there's a lot of things that you can do, and not everybody has to do everything, but you can separate, you can, and the needs are different. So, and it will start with PCP, and then in the meantime we can discuss on the PPI. Interestingly, the Commission has only not the idea of creating comprehensive cancer centers, but they want to do it for cardiovascular also. And the Safe Hearts plan that is now coming, very often these oncology and cardiovascular are in the same hospital. So it's one shot, and you can continue like that. So this is something where, again, the networks that the Commission is making is offering us really an opportunity for these kind of things. And I think everybody will be interested. Everybody will ask the same question: how will we pay this transition phase? And there I think we are now discussing partnerships with the industry on how we could work together. And I think that is one element that we have to explain. And the industry is willing to do that. But you have to give them also a perspective towards the future. Will it happen, yes or no? And the other element, we can have the industry, the hospitals, but you need the reimbursement payers, the payers also aboard. So that's another element that we, and in the plans that the Commission has with DG Santé, the member states are also playing a role. So we need this discussion also. So we have all the elements. So it's there, and I think now we have to see what comes from the next plan from the Commission. I hope it's very industry-driven, very industry-directed, but okay, industry cannot do it all. They have to come back to us also. So we have to create this not a swamp. Brussels is indeed, Bruxelles is, but it's not a swamp anymore. Well, some places it is, but okay. we are able to avoid them. So it's there. So we can, I think we can go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. And now my last question goes to Olman, and it is a concrete takeaway. So tomorrow, one concrete actions that stakeholders can take to accelerate the adoption of PPI solutions?
Okay, so we believe that people, for example, that have participated in RaDAR are change agents because they believe in this long-term transformation. So we know we have clinical champions, we have research champions, we have champions at the health system level, health managers. So if they understand that they are part of this transformation because they have complex challenges that they face and they understand they cannot solve them by themselves, what they need to do is find these alliances internally and find the alignment and a broader consensus within their institutions, but also try to see how they can find those alliances elsewhere within their health system. And this is a little bit the space that we are trying to address with this HIPS laboratory, in which we allow those change agents to have a go at this systemic policy journey, in which they understand the demand-driven element that I think we need to focus on, because most of the things we hear about innovation are targeting, oh, we should go faster and get this industry quicker to the market because it's already there. But on the other end, you have the upskill the capacity of this complex health system aligning together to tackle this real big challenges to participate and co-create and do this risk-sharing design, co-design. And of course, the industry is in it on the PPI formula. So we need to see how we push that part. And they need to be able to understand how to do this alignment of healthcare policymakers, healthcare managers at different levels, local, health system, but also national and European, and also this professional healthcare providers, right? Then they need to be able to understand this complex PPI, so that's another thing that we can address. And we need to start sharing tools for deployment, things that can help you get in your first PPI project, whether you're a procurer, whether you're an innovation provider, whether you're a health system. And how do you design these policies that could be reaching out within your health system or supporting your health system actors to go ahead and tackle this challenging processes. So the third element is the strategizing for your local context. So we need to be able to, as Madalena was asking Assunta, we need to be able to learn from other health systems that have done stuff that we can now think about and interact with our own local stakeholders to get those first strategies on board to help demand-driven instruments or to help demand researcher or tech-driven innovation, that it's already there, but we need to find the ways that we can sustainably adopt them.
Thank you. I like your proactive approach, and it almost sounds be the change that you would like to see, right? When you mentioned the change agents. So if I can conclude this thing, and correct me if I'm wrong, there are already solutions out there. We are not starting from zero. There are here and there, maybe not really all in one place. So maybe the first thing to do is to keep networking, to expand the network, to communicate what is there so that actually the public buyers and other stakeholders can join you, can understand that there is something open. Education needs to be done because actually we have to teach and learn even more how we can do it also in the public buyers. The policy should proceed, but will probably follow up. And this comes to what you suggested also in your intervention lastly. We need an integrated approach of the public, private, public, when I mean public, it's public buyers, private, and institutions that are public but not as meant as public buyers, but the ones that facilitate this whole process that probably in Europe we need heavily more than in maybe in the States or somewhere else. this was it. Any other quick comment from the? Oh, that was it. Thank you.